Welcome to New Growth, a show where two best friends talk about navigating life in a complex world.
Yeah.
I'm Asia,
I'm Tony.
and today we're going to be talking about the topic,
No new friends.
All right, so let's get into why this topic was chosen.
Yes.
What year was that when we were at FAMU, when Drake dropped had to be like, what, our freshman, sophomore year?
It had to be. So 2011, 2012.
Yeah, everybody
era.
remember the viral song, No New Friends, No New Friends, No,
Yeah.
No. I live by that. Tony and I had joined an organization together, and it was a sisterly organization, and I was in there still trying to cling to her instead of making friends. And the crazy part about it is I was, you got two best friends together. I'm considered the mean one, walk around with the world on her shoulder looking crazy. Half the time, like, please don't talk to me. RBF was freely loaded, and she was just happy. And people would approach us because you were so outgoing.
Yes.
And so it wasn't until like what year was that? 2013, right?
Yeah, and it's like it flipped, remember?
I ended up getting in the organization, enjoying the ladies, bonding with the ladies, and realizing this is not so bad. Introducing new people into your life is not that bad.
Yeah. And I've always been the person to just know a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, super outgoing. But in 2013, I don't know what happened.
I think you got focused.
I definitely got more focused. It was before I had Ethan. However, I don't know. I just was more focused. Just had some experiences. I think that I was super nice and a little ignorant to things too.
You think so?
Yeah. So I'm like, let's love everybody. Let's be with everybody. And then I realized like people are snakes. And I think that's something I learned later on in life. And some people learn it very early on because of their parents' childhood experience or whatever it may be.
Because I was cold. Like, I wouldn't say cold like nasty. I wasn't nasty, but I was very much holding people to a standard that I didn't even know how to define myself. I was just like, if you don't black and white this, there is no gray. Like, you're not, I couldn't even say pouring into me because I wasn't even speaking like that at the time. It's just like the vibes weren't right. You are not my cup of tea, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
Like, the more you did to try to be around me, the more I'm looking at you sideways like, what are you here for?
Yeah.
But being in that sisterly organization, not only did it strengthen our bond, we had another thing to connect on. We navigated that together.
Yes.
Because that was an entire process of itself.
Right.
Hopefully one day we can talk about it.
Yes.
But, just meeting some of those girls, they had some of the same ambition. A lot of them end up being a lot of my classmates in pharmacy school.
Yes.
And I learned that, you don't have to be friends with people, but one of the things that I really take pride in, and at this age, 31, pause, my birthday just had.
Yeah, so happy birthday.
Yeah, but at this age, I'm learning that not everybody has to be your friend. And the one big thing she recently taught me in 2023, what reiterated to me, is that some people are here for a reason, a season, and sometimes a lifetime. So I had to really understand that everybody doesn't have to be your friends. Maybe they're pouring into you for a little bit. Maybe it's not pouring. Maybe you're pouring into them.
Right.
And it just gets back to that whole thing about being humans on earth, existing with one another, learning from one another, and enjoying life and taking experiences for what they are.
Absolutely. And understanding that the people who were there for the lesson or the blessing or a short time period, it doesn't have to be hard feelings when things end in the relationship.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing that people have to understand. Like, it's okay.
I'm still learning that. This was not even a year ago, and she had to tell me that, like, I'm so loyal to people who are loyal to me, and I feel like once you're a staple in my life, you're here to stay. Like, we're supposed to see it through to the end of time.
Yeah.
And nothing is supposed to be greater than the friendship or the relationship that we have. And so for me, it's really hard to let go. Like, I guess I was trauma bonding a little bit with people that was bringing me closer. And I'm like, because we went through this and we have this many years together, we can't just let that go down the drain. It's technically not going down the drain.
Yeah.
It's more so just like your foundation. It could be your foundation that's continuing to build you. Doesn't mean it has to go with you.
Yes.
And while I sit here and I discuss this with Tony, I'm still living and learning that as we move into the 2024 year.
Yeah. And, people grow, they learn, people change sometimes. And if they do, you can't go with them. They can't go with you where you're going. And that's okay. Yeah. You give people grace and be grateful for what you have and the friendships that you do have. And you keep pushing forward. So that's what I've learned over the years. Because I was like a longevity type person too. I've had the same friends since I was like 3. But I also know that they're doing different things in life, and it doesn't mean that we're not friends. It's just they're doing different things, I'm doing different things, and we talk to each other when it's appropriate.
I think for me, when I was going through that, I think it was hard for me to switch because, Tony had her first baby and then she also got married. We're two best friends who kind of did everything together and in our paths. But I don't think we didn't have to this day, we didn't have a barrier. It's just life just be life.
Yeah.
There was nothing that separated us, even though we went through different paths. And what was happening with my friendships, I was comparing them to how you and I navigated. Because I'm like, if her and I can do it, we live total opposite lives.
Absolutely.
Total opposite in life. I know we gotta make this thing work. And so I was just so pressed on keeping these people in and trying to make them fit this mold.
Yes.
And it's not fair to them, nor was it fair to the relationship.
So this brings up an interesting term, friendship fluidity. You got to be fluid, right? You can't put people in a mold and they can't be like this best friend or that best friend and compare them, because then when they don't fit that description or in that mold, then it's a problem.
Right.
And so just have friendship fluidity, friendship fluid or whatever it may be.
Because baby, I was not fluid. I remember one year I was in my internship when I came up here to
Yes.
I came up here for my internship and Tony was working on her master's at Howard, and we were heading out, and I still am territorial over Tony, but I have really relinquished the ring. But she had to warn me, like, look, when we get here, this is my friend. Don't say nothing. Don't act crazy. Because I'm like, first of all, don't walk up to her car thinking you're in the front seat. I was here first. I'm gonna be here after you. Like, I'm very territorial, and that's just because I love her so much that I wanted to make sure like nobody was taking away or outshining the love that I share.
And it also goes that here goes me, the mental health therapist. Not even that is a huge part of it, but also finding someone that shows you, gets you, and it's like when you have that person, and this isn't any relationship, friendship, mother, father, or whatever it may be, you do cling to them and you don't want them to share that with anybody else. And I think for some people, out of fear of it may change our relationship. So
yeah, it was so sacred because like she said, I lacked in vulnerability. Like we talk about that, we go down a rabbit hole. When her whole pregnancy, I was scared to just even caress her belly. And I remember when I first did, I was like, Tony, is it okay?
Yeah.
Like I want to, but I don't know how to show that.
Yeah.
And so like when I was able to be vulnerable with her, it was so sacred, and I didn't want anybody, coming in and getting a piece of that pot because it was so sacred to me. And I'm like, she got to have that with me.
Yes.
But yeah, that actually is a good segue into the next part of the conversation, the red flags in friendship.
Oh yes, that is. So what are you thinking? What is the number one red flag for you?
The number one thing that made me want to segue is what you had just said when you were talking about the giving the back, the reciprocity. The moment, because again, I just mentioned that I struggle with vulnerability. So the moment I see that you can't be vulnerable and I feel like I'm the only one pouring and wearing my heart on the skin, heart on my sleeve, I just want to cut you off. But I do it so like I'm doing it like a self-awareness checklist. Like I'm not cold with it, but I'm weaning off. And I just realized I don't want any relationship, friendship, relationship, any relationship where I am not receiving what I'm putting out.
Yeah.
I cannot just be a giver. I want someone to give to me so I can take as well.
And that's just that's big into knowing your love language. But I do agree that reciprocity does need to be a staple or a thing, or it should be in any relationship. Like no one should be pouring all of something into anything, especially when multiple people are involved, or it should be symbiotic.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Yeah,
and I had to learn that because I couldn't explain or articulate what it was with certain relationships that I've lost. Why? Because I'm like, it's on a deeper level. And I think it was because me feeling like a person does not understand my love language. And I mean, it's not that they didn't want to pour back. I think it's they didn't know how to, because it was never discussed or understood what the love language is. And so that test of when are you gonna meet this? I'm not really in a department of trying to wait for somebody to figure that part out. Like, we have a conversation, you've been friends with me long enough, I expect you to just get it. And that's why I said I'm still learning, because that can be unfair.
Yeah.
If you don't have that conversation with them. But yeah, my number one red flag off rip is not showing me reciprocity. What about you?
Let's see. I think my red flag is just not showing up, because I show up for people. I support everybody. And so if you can't show up for me in any capacity, I think that's a red flag.
Showing up for you in like which
in
way?
Anything. Like if I'm doing something, I'm speaking at something, and you can't be there, knowing that I've shown up for you in any other capacity, you've done that. What's a red flag? Was because clearly we're not on the same page. Maybe I felt like you were more a friend to me than I am to you. If you can't show up for me, or if I'm going through something and I voice it right, because people can't read minds, and you never like check back in on me or anything, that's not a friend. Like I don't think you should do that to people. So that's a red flag for me. Like, are you really my friend if you just can't show up, whether it be literally or figuratively, just show up and let me know that, oh, okay, yeah, I support you too.
Yeah.
That's a big part of a friendship.
And I was going to say, hearing you say that, we had a conversation outside of this about, I think the showing up aspect is the quality time. Quality time is my number one love language. And number two is physical touch. But quality time is my number one. I don't expect you to go grand. It's just your presence. Like having someone present. I don't care if it doesn't even have to be a show, you know, just inserting yourself to let me know that I matter.
Right.
So, you know, the more quality time, like for events like that you spend showing up for other people, you know, the better. You know, so I understand that red flag of showing up. Yeah. I'm trying to think, I have experienced that, but it wasn't that long for me to, you know, really be affected by it again. Yeah. Just kind of dwindled off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be, everybody's talking about that on social media, the red flags, but they're actually going a little deeper. Not just like what makes a good friend. You know, because we're young. We're still young. There's so much access to different things, so much impressionable things through social media, through society. And it's just like people are creating ideas that are false. Like we're losing that human nature of it. And I think friendships are just getting put to the back burner a lot. Yeah. What I'm seeing on social media is down my For You page on TikTok is a lot of people are complaining about how friends in instance became a my man. You know, and so I'm eager to see like what's your take on that, because I'm a single woman, you know, and you're married, and I think you do a great job, but I also think you would have to talk to a friend outside of who hasn't known you or him. I met y'all at the same time. Yeah. So to me, I won't be looking at it through a lens, but as your friend, I feel like you do a great job navigating it. So when I hear the other people on social media talking about it, it's that their friends are so engulfed with their partners and it's all about them that they negate the fact that you also have another relationship that needs nurturing called the friendship. Right. How you feel about that?
No, I agree, because though you are married, you have to be around other people and be able to talk to other people about things. And because, you know, me and Marcus are click tight. We're really good friends. And we're also married. But I also know that, okay, I can't talk to him about this. For one, he don't even care. And so for women or girls or whatever you want to classify yourself as, it's very important to have relationships outside of your intimate relationship or your marriage or whatever it may be. But, you know, a lot of times people have wanted that for so long. And so when they do get their man, that's all they can talk about is their man. My man.
Because I want to my man myself to death. But at the end of the day, I cannot imagine. Like, we're going to have a balance. Because I got to have my girls. And I think while we're talking about friendship, what we have is not just a friendship, it is a sisterhood.
Absolutely.
So with my real sisters, I cannot imagine doing life without them. So I damn sure can't imagine doing life without my friends.
Yeah.
And any partner of mine will have to understand that. Like when you're planning, we do our solo stuff because I am very private. But when you are planning something like that's celebrating something big in my life, I hope my partner understands the first person you need to start calling is my friend.
Exactly.
They are part of this process. Yes. They will remain a part of this process.
Yes.
So get them on the line. But when I see the people saying, I'm like, it's just well, they're kind of young too. That's one, and then two, it's not a balance. Like there has to be a balance that's created, and you don't want to engulf yourself into your partner so much that you lose who you are. I think my friends keep me centered and remind me who I am when I often forget myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. You need to have balance. It can't just be you can't be so much into your friends when you're in a relationship or so much into your man when you're in a relationship. Even when you're married, some married women wouldn't agree with that, right? Because it's like my family over everything. He comes first. And of course he does. However, you have to have your own identity outside your marriage, outside of your relationship. And so don't beat me up, married women who swear by that.
You got one, you got two coming back at you.